Sup witches, this is the Hermit, and today we're continuing our coloring journey with the High Priestess. This beautiful card of the High Priestess from my tarot coloring book. So, actually every week when we do different colorings, I try to pick the patterns or the archetype of the card in my everyday life. So after reading the 78 Degrees of Wisdom about the High Priestess, and I was just thinking about women in my life all around, so I was watching people walking on the street and trying to look for this archetype, for this image or this idea of the mysterious woman who has the answer to all secrets or things like that. And I would see some aspects of mystery in people's personality, for example. So if we go with this book, we can obviously look at the temple, the two pillars, B and J, and what does that mean? So Rachel Pollack, as well as this book and the tarot coloring book, talks about the temple in Jerusalem, the two pillars, and B stands for Boaz and J for Jachim. So they were supposed to represent the two pillars at the temple of Jerusalem. Then if we look what she has in her hands, she has a manuscript that says Torah, and if we inverse the letters in Torah, we can make the word tarot, right? So it's almost as if she's reading Torah, but she can also be seeking answers through tarot. That's my interpretation, by the way. Then if we look at the veil or the curtain behind her, it has some pomegranates and it has palm trees. And this book says that it's supposed to represent the fruitfulness of spiritual life. She has her moon crown, which can represent the triple goddess, because there's different phases of the moon, so the full moon and waning, waxing moon, right? She has the cross at her heart, symbol of religion and spirituality. And the way her robe is made, this book describes it as almost like waves of the ocean. So that was quite interesting. Now, if we go to the 78 Degrees of Wisdom, so first, she points out that in Tarot de Marseille, the other tarot, this card is called La Papesse. So, how do I translate this in English? It's like the Pope, but the feminine of Pope. But in the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's called High Priestess. And she tells us, you can read about it, that there was a legend of the first Pope, who would be a woman. Pope Joan was a legend, and then she talks about another, Mafreda Visconti, as the first Papess, or Papess, not sure how to pronounce it in English. So you could read about it here, and then she talks about the fact that in our everyday life, the outer achievement is more important than the unconscious or looking within. And it's true that it's rarely that we stop and we look within for answers. It's mostly about our outer environment, what's going on in our lives, things like that. And this card is about looking within and looking for answers. So the qualities of the High Priestess: darkness, mystery, psychic forces, the power of the moon to stir the unconscious, passivity, and the wisdom gained from it. So, a quote that I highlighted: most people at some time have felt they understood something in such a deep way that they could never manage to explain it. Myths serve as metaphors for deep psychic feelings, yet the myths themselves, like the explanations given by theologians and anthropologists, are only symbols. The High Priestess signifies inner wisdom at its deepest level. Bang! Right on spot, no? So, if we go to some of the meanings of the card, as I already told you about the mystery and everything, let's look at other meanings. So it can signify the potential in our lives, very strong possibilities we have not realized, though we can sense them as possible. The card reverse signifies a turn towards passion, towards a deep involvement with life and other people in all ways, a loss of that most precious knowledge, the sense of our inner selves. And if we go to the tarot coloring book, it also has the reverse definition. It's talking about the loss of sight of her inner guidance. That summarizes the High Priestess. And see you next Tuesday for the beautiful lady, the Empress.